Walking with the ghost.
Well, it seems like everybody and their grandma has done a top five, top 10 list of films that they've seen in 2019. And my top five films I seen in 2019 are as follows. Number five is Shazam, starring Zachary Levi. Plays the role of a young teen, a young kid who comes upon a ancient warrior, whatever you want to call him, and gives him these powers. Tells him to say the word Shazam, and when he does, he turns into an adult person in the form of Zachary Levi. And Zachary Levi played the role really well. He embodied that wonderment that comes with being a child, and you see him acting like how a child would act, a teenager would act, making decisions that are pretty rash and pretty impulsive, and he really pulled it off. And I enjoyed the film. And amongst the 11 films I seen last year, that's all the films I ever watched last year. This was the one that fell into number five. Now, number four is a film that I thoroughly enjoyed. I think it's one of the best films in the science fiction genre to come out in some time, and that is Alita Battle Angel. Uh, Rosa Salazar is the one who voiced Alita and also was motion captured for the role as well. So everything you've seen, the action, the movements of Alita, that was Rosa Salazar. And a lot of people are clamoring for her to get an award. I think the Oscar, the Academy should seriously consider concluding that as a best actor or even its own category. Because it's no joke. You have you know, some of these others who do that, and it's like they get looked over because they feel, oh, it's just a special effect. That's what they say. Oh, it's a CGI thing. But there's a lot that goes behind it, and she did really well. It gave to us probably one of the best female heroines in a long time. Someone who comes from you know out of nowhere and becomes a hero. She's all she is just her head is just found by Doctor Ito, in a salvage yard or some sort, and then he then gives her a body, which was something that he was developing for his daughter who passed away, and he decides to attach Alita to that what he created and brought her to life. And we see her fighting mercenaries and these corrupt people and officials, and battling in the in that competition, that roller derby, battle derby, murder derby, what do you want to call it. And she was doing her thing, and a lot of people love this film, and they're clamoring for a sequel. You see a big following on Twitter, all over social media. Who knows if it will ever happen, but they can just continue to try and encourage the powers that be, James Cameron and Robert Rodriguez, to get a sequel going. I mean, we know that James Cameron is busy now with Avatar 2. So we'll see what happens, if that is even a possibility that we will see Alita continue her adventures. Now, number three on my list is John Wick 3, Parabellum. Keanu Reeves has always been a favorite of mine. I love everything that he's done, and this movie really brought him back into the limelight. It really showed us that, Keanu Reeves hasn't lost it. He hasn't been doing, films of this high profile before. He's been acting. He's been doing his thing. But on the heels of this, now he's going to be, he just finished up, I believe he just wrapped up Bill and Ted, Face the Music, which would be number three in the series. And The Matrix 4 is been announced. Be doing that. But this film really is just raw boned, you know, this bare knuckle, like just in your face action and brutality that you've never seen before. I mean, we've seen brutal fight scenes and movies, stuff like that, but this thing really just went to another level. And we have, Halle Berry in here is kicking ass as well. And together they're a pretty good pair. And it seemed like he was dead, in this movie, that he was killed. And you would think he would have. But then now we have it set up now for part four. So we'll see what happens when he comes back and what he has to face. But this film really was great. I absolutely enjoyed this. It really makes me happy for Keanu Reeves because if y'all know how he is in real life. That very famous video where he's standing up, he's sitting down actually, and the lady's standing up, and he just gets up and gives her his seat. The guy's a real gentleman, and he's a really cool guy. From what you hear from everybody, he is not an asshole. He is not someone who is full of himself, who's nice to you when he's in a meet and greet and all this stuff. But then if you see him in a like a regular setting, he's not going to tell you to f off and to get away from me. He's somebody that's very approachable, and I'm glad for this, and I'm happy for success. And we'll see what happens in part four. Now, part two. I mean, not part two, but my second choice is great Joaquin Phoenix, and the film is Joker. And this film truly deserves all the accolades and the awards that it has been receiving so far this year. Keanu Reeves won, not Keanu Reeves, but Joaquin Phoenix won the Golden Globe for Best Actor for his role. He's now nominated for an Academy Award. In fact, it's not only nabbed that nomination, but also for Best Picture, for Best Director, and a host of other nominations as well. Definitely going to probably see Joaquin Phoenix win the award, and rightfully so, and deservedly so. The guy really is truly one of the great actors of this generation. We all know of his brother, River Phoenix, and the it's almost like Joaquin pretty much took the mantle from his brother, who tragically passed away, and pretty much doing what his brother would have been doing. His brother would have definitely have been at this position, getting awards. I mean, he already won a Best Supporting Actor one by for Gilbert Grape. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he won for. I know he was nominated, but was that him or was that? No, that was talking about Gilbert Grape. That was what's his name? DiCaprio, right? Who was River Phoenix nominated for? No, yeah, River. Yeah, he was. I just know he was. I mean, I'm trying to remember. I'm kind of drawing a blank. But yeah, he definitely would have been in this position right now where he'd be making award-winning films and stuff like that. And he really, truly, gave a great performance. Damn the critics, damn the baby crybabies out there who want to say that it was too violent. It caused this. It caused that. It caused there's this thing that happened recently, and they're blaming the movie. And that's a whole other issue. I could get into that if talk about that, where people believe that films inspire real life crime, and they want to stop the whole thing on making these type of films because they just influence people. Newsflash: there are people out there that are kind of they don't have all their marbles there, and if they see something, they will definitely act on it. But it's like it doesn't matter if you stop. Let's say you stop your films, right? You stop making those kind of films. They're gonna find another way to feed that way of thinking in their head. It's tragic. It's unfortunate what happened to people. You know, and I understand that they try to look for a way to explain why they lost their loved one and stuff like that. But it's been like this for since the dawn of time. You know, when it comes to film, you know, people have always blamed films, even music, video games, the whole lot. You know, but regardless of that, it's all about Joaquin Phoenix's performance in this film. The way he, you know, embodied the role of the Joker. The way, you know, he really went over the top, meaning he finally became him after killing Robert De Niro's character when it came to, you know, that game show. I mean, a game show, but the talk show that he was on, and how it just launched him into being the character. He's all these followers, all these people that it was just amazing. The performance was just incredible. You know, tour de force, you know, if you will. And he deserves the Oscar, and I hope he does. Hope he wins it. You know, I don't think that the controversy and all that stuff is going to even quell that, or it's going to keep him from winning. Because in the end, it's the performance. You know, and he gave a damn good performance, man. And I hope for the best when it comes to Joaquin Phoenix's chances at the Oscars, and hopefully he does because he deserves it. You know, it doesn't fucking affect me because I hate the Oscars, I hate the Academy, I hate all that stuff because it's all political. But it's his you know, it's his job, it's his way of being rewarded, and I'm not in that world, but he is, so I wish him all the best. Now, number one on my list, and this might be a reason for people to turn off the video and to just say fuck this. But my number one, and I'm talking about from beginning, middle, and end, I was thoroughly entertained. Forget the inaccuracies. Forget the fact that characters are jettisoned so quickly into possessing the type of power they have. And how is it that they're able to do this and do that? And why is it that there wasn't enough time to build it up? And it doesn't have nothing to do with canon. It has nothing to do with comics or how the initial trilogy started. Saying all this, yeah, yeah, I'm sure you guys know what I'm choosing as my number one of the films that I seen last year. And to me, number one is Star Wars: Rise of Skywalker. I know what you're saying. How the hell can you pick that film as your number one? Well, like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I kept all my expectations, left them at the door. I took my brain, left it at the door. I just sat in the theater and I watched 2.5 hours, however long it was, and I was thoroughly entertained. Now, people started bringing up, I would watch reviews, I would watch all these other videos, and they brought up their complaints, their concerns, their problems with the film. And to be honest, I didn't see it when I watched the film. In hindsight, yeah, I saw, okay, I can understand why. But let's talk about when it comes to a movie. When you watch a movie, you know, it's like you can't, this is me now, you can't base it on a prior experience, on a prior film in the series, if it doesn't follow what you expect. There's this question, that's the key right there. That's the question. That's the point right there. What you expect. You come into a movie, I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, it has to do this, it can't go back to doing this again. And then when you go in there, I hate this movie. Like it didn't do what I expected. But how did the movie come across to you? Forget about like what I said in to introduce number this my pick for number one, Star Wars. Remember the things that I said. It's like, yeah, People are saying that it's not canon. People are saying it's like it's not. How is it that Ray is so quick to learn about the Force? There's not enough time for her to be trained. But it's like, do we know how much time passed? She was being trained by Leia. How old is Leia? All this time she's been training. You don't think that? And this is funny thing. The other day, I'm watching. I was just watching Empire Strikes Back. Clips, and I'm watching the training sequence between Luke and Yoda. How much time did Luke get trained by what do you call it, Yoda? In fact, he didn't even finish his training before he went off, left because he knew his friends were in trouble. Leia and Han and Chewie and them. He did go back later on and continue his training, and but it's like he didn't train for that long. But nobody complains about that, right? But I think it's because of the fact that you talk about polarizing figures in people. That's what Ray has become. I personally, I said in my review, I said that she is a new heroine for this generation. A new hero, a new female heroine because of how they presented her in this film. I like how they moved her along and how she continued to progress in this film. And I personally think that, she was really, really well done in this movie. She was presented really well. And a lot of people want to talk about how, oh, there's just too much nostalgia. Why is it that they're bringing this back? Excuse me. Bring this back and that back. And I'm thinking, this is the last film in this genre. I mean, not genre, in this saga of the Luke Skywalker, of the Skywalkers. So why not bring back, some of these things like a callback to Empire and New Hope and Return of the Jedi, you know. But I thoroughly enjoyed this film. I don't care what anybody says. You know, people want to give you attitude because you said this film is the best film. It's one of the best films you've ever seen, and I'm going to say that I stick by that. Last year this is for me the best film I've seen because, like I said, I'm going by a movie going experience by going to the movies and being thoroughly enjoyed. Damn the damn the whole canon thing, the comics books, the original trilogy, and all this stuff. It doesn't make sense. And she's so quick to learn the Force, and she's already a Jedi Master and whatever like that. And and it's like I'm glad that I don't put that in my head and make that cloud my judgment when I watch a film. She's Palpatine's granddaughter. Nobody nobody puts that into account. That maybe that's the reason why she's able to grasp it so quickly. Maybe she's a quick study. When she was being trained by Leia, people complained that well, come it was Leia that trained her. The one thing also that this kind of brought out to me is that why it would be nice to see Disney for Disney Plus do a TV series where she is training. Because we saw in the film that she was training with Luke. To see her training and see her become a Jedi, the early years of Leia, that'd be great. I'd like to see Ben, grow up and then eventually go over to the dark side. That would be great to see something like that. But anyway, that is my top five of the films, top five films that I seen last year. I could just run down the films that I saw. Pokemon Defective Pikachu, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, Lady and the Tramp, Zombieland Double Tap, Captain Marvel, Godzilla King of Monsters, and Rambo Last Blood. Those are the films I saw last year. I hope to watch more films this year so I can make a better type of list. And because this was pretty easy because I didn't have many films that I watched, and I know which films I liked more than the others. I enjoyed every one of these films. No complaints. Um, I'm thinking about doing this more often. Make some more top five lists, top 10 lists, what have you. Different genres, different decades and time spans. But anyway, that's my video. And for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it very much. And in closing, and as always, take care.